Are you on mute? I can't hear shit you saying. I can't hear you, QC. I can't hear you, Brody. I can't hear you. Is it my phone? Let me leave and come back. Yo, say something. I can't hear you, Brody. YouTube on their shenanigans. All right, can y'all hear me?
We gonna try this again.
There you go. Now we can hear you.
LVZ, what's up, man?
What it do, man?
Sorry about that. That was on my end, my mistake. Okay, got one LVZ of LVZ NBA talk here in the
What it
building.
do,
I know
man?
he's excited about his Lakers being back in the finals once again.
We're gonna throw the Kareem up there so y'all know who it is. Captain Skyhook. Captain Skyhook. Yeah,
Sorry about
I
that,
feel it.
y'all. That was an audio.
I'm feeling good. It's 10 years later, man. But I'm glad we back in the finals. This is exactly where I thought we would be. I can't say that I'm shocked because this is what I've predicted. Now, the most shocking thing, I guess, would be is my
Right.
brother Jeff
Definitely thought
say that the Heat is here. Because I could have swore it was going to be Milwaukee.
right.
But
Yeah, a
this
lot of
is
people thought it would be Bucks.
but this is a good matchup. Um, Unlike the Houston series, the White will be able to play this series. I'm
Right.
worried more JaVale.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm worried about JaVale McGee. He may not play, but he may get his third ring just sitting on the bench. I'm going I'm gonna do my prediction early. I like the Lakers in a shocking 7-game series.
Okay, so you saying it's gonna go to full 7 games?
I think it's gonna go 7 because people underestimate Miami. I respect Miami. I respect the way they've been playing, and they not there for no reason. I don't see us just steamrolling them. If we do, I will be shocked. That's no bull.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, for those. Well, I got somebody here who Nazo. He says, let me pull him up. He says it's gonna be the Lakers in 5. But yeah,
I
I don't
hear
think
him.
it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be no cakewalk either. For the Lakers because this Heat team, man, I like their ball movement. Plus their defense, man, they just swarm, other teams defensively. I mean, look what they did to the Bucks.
Look what they did
How
to
they shut down
Boston. Threw
Giannis
them,
and all those things. Yep, the
and what they
Celtics
did to
too.
Boston. They threw Kimber all out of sorts, and that's what really made the series for them. But the
Right.
damning thing that I saw was that guys like Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, and even Daniel Tice got whatever they wanted when they wanted, and they couldn't be stopped.
Not at all. Especially they could not. They didn't have an answer for Hero.
Yeah, they didn't have an answer for him.
Hero just came up killing.
And that was shocking that Marcus Smart couldn't pick him up and couldn't,
Right.
deny him. That was the most impressive thing of the Heat beating them. I was not expecting Tyler Hero to play like that off the bench, but I think the Lakers do have the wing players that can stick with these guys. The key for them is can our backcourt guys hit at least 8 threes? I think if our backcourt guys
That's the
can hit
main
eight
question
threes,
with
Danny Green, Caruso, between Danny Green, Caruso, Rondo, and KCP, we need 8 threes.
definitely. That would definitely help. That's been one of the main concerns with me, which is their backcourt. When their
Mm,
backcourt is clicking, the Lakers are clicking. When the backcourt ain't doing nothing, that's when the Lakers are just all out of whack. It is evident in the games that they have lost in the playoffs.
hmm All the games they lost, the
It's
backcourt
because
wasn't
of the
hitting
lack of
shot.
backcourt play.
Right. Every game that they
Right,
lost, the backcourt looked lackluster, and they let the other backcourt destroy them.
right.
Like you
So
looked
they
at
definitely
Jamal
cannot
Murray.
let Jimmy Butler and Gordon Dragic go off in this series. They got to win that battle, because in the games they lost, Houston, Harden, and Westbrook went off. The game
Yeah.
they lost to Portland, the first game, Dame and CJ went off. The game they lost to Denver, Jamal Murray went off.
And Monte Morris came off the bench and went off.
I almost forgot about Monte Morris. Monte Morris had a pretty good game off the bench.
Right.
So yeah, that's gonna definitely be a key for the Lakers. They gotta win that backcourt matchup. So Danny Green has to be big. I know Rondo's gonna play big. Rondo plays big in the playoffs. I don't have no questions about Rondo. But Green, Caruso, they gotta come up big in the series.
Yeah, I really believe that. I believe
And
that Green. I believe Caruso has to be good. in his matchup, just like he was good against Jamal Murray. I need him to be that same way against Goran Dragic. You cannot let him get in the paint and cause havoc. You got to do just like you did with Jamal Murray. You got to, yes, like you did with Jamal Murray.
Right. Also, I'm definitely going to be looking at the Lakers front court, how they're going to handle, Bam Adebayo.
Right.
They got to win that matchup.
I'm not worried about that though. See, that's gonna be a problem for Miami. See, that's what I'm telling you. Dwight Howard can play Bam Adebayo. JaVale McGee can play Bam Adebayo. And
yeah,
AD can play Bam Adebayo. Do Bam have enough fouls? Can the Lakers force them to play Kelly Olynyk?
That's true.
If the Lakers can force them to play their game, I could see where Nando is right, where they can win in 5. If they start coming in with Derrick Jones Jr. and all them dudes and they start running and Solomon Hill give them something and fucking Crawford give them something and Nunn give them something, we're going to have a problem. But if we can keep, like I said, if we can get it where Caruso don't play as much, I mean where Georges don't play and Nunn come back in. If we can get it where we get Bam in foul trouble, we're not gonna have the same problem the Celtics did. We more paint heavy. The Celtics was relying on 2-point jumpers and a lot of 3-point shots from Marcus Smart and guys like that. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna do more AD, more LeBron going to the cup. And I see the same success for LeBron that I saw for Jason Tatum.
All right. So now, play to watch on the years. Of course, Danny Green. We already got into that, but another player that I'm watching out for is Kyle Kuzma. How is he gonna step up off the bench? I think if Kuzma can, the Lakers will be in great shape to make this a quick series. But if he struggles, then I think this series definitely can go 6 or even 7 games.
Me too. That's what I'm trying to say. I didn't even mention Kyle Kuzma because honestly, Kyle Kuzma has not been playing a very good playoffs. But because of the fact that they've been playing such good defense, you've been able to overlook his inconsistent, erratic play. Because that's what it's been. Inconsistent and erratic to describe at best. So,
right.
If Kuzma can hold it down, like you said, it
Okay,
can be
so okay, so right.
But I'm not worried.
So now let's flip it over to the Heat.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just this is just a scenario. The Heat wins this series if happens, in your opinion.
How? You broke up when you said the Heat win this series because I just don't see it happening. But
what?
All right, this is what.
No, it's just a scenario.
Nah, but it's a way it can be basketball. It's the way the Heat can win it. If you play small ball, but can find a way to get Anthony Davis in foul trouble, if you can find a way to do that in at least 3 games, you can beat them. Because he's going to be out of sorts. You got to throw him off a rhythm. You
Okay.
can't get into a big man game with the Lakers. They too big. So if you can get Anthony Davis in foul trouble and get Duncan Robinson and Hero open shots, you got a chance.
All right. Definitely agree with that point. The Heat definitely would have to. Duncan Robinson would have to step up. Tyler Hero would have to continue to keep doing what he's doing. Also, Adebayo would definitely have to have a big series. You know, he would definitely have to he pretty much would have to be what Ben Wallace was in the 2004 finals against Shaq. Pretty much.
Mm-hmm. And
That's
and
what Adebayo would have to be.
but that's only assuming LeBron plays Kobe and don't pass him the ball. Shaq shot like 70% in that goddamn series and averaged a double-double.
True.
He didn't get the ball enough. And then as far as the Heat concerned, get your boy Derrick Jones Jr. to play good D against LeBron at least 3 out of 7 games. And he got to score double digits. He can't just hold LeBron to like 15 and score 6 and foul out.
Right.
He got to score 10, 12, 8 and 9 rebounds and some good D, a block or something. They got a chance. They got length. They got athleticism. If they play small ball, they have a better chance. And they got a better chance than Houston because they better rebounders. As my spoiled granddaughter continues to. We heard them saying something about
man, you spoiling her riding.
Yeah. All she wanted is to be around me. Hurry up, Jabari. But yeah, I think the best.
You want to be around your green daddy?
Hell yeah! I think the best way. I know, baby. The best way for Miami to get loose is, like I said, he got to use his bench. He got to use that depth. But again,
right?
Frank Vogel been using his depth. He been using the Morrisons. We seen a series with Caleb Horton Tucker came in and bust some ass. We don't know. We seen Rondo come. So I'm not as worried as you know people would think I would be, because I think we have the bench that could run with him. Kuzma is the X factor. He has to come off the bench and give us something. Morris been giving us something. If he can give us, if Morris can give us a consistent 8 and 6, and Kuzma can give us between 12 to 15, I can see this an easy series. But if Miami bench comes in and they utilize that youth and that depth that they have, they could do something special. That's the way they could do
it. Right. Okay, somebody, you know, TZ, he agrees with you, LVZ, about Kuzma. He said Kuz has to do more cutting to the basket and not just stand out shooting threes. That's why I've always wondered Kuzma doesn't cut more to the basket.
Right. Cause when he was a rookie, he would always do that and then do that
That's
little
what I
pull
was
up.
wondering about.
He need to be more confident in his game. I think him trying to be a
Right,
stretch three shooter is not doing a good service. And when LeBron go out, he really need to assert himself. He needs to assert himself, take the initiative, say, look here, I'm gonna get us the baskets. I like that he had to play against Michael Porter Jr. because I like Michael Porter Jr.'s attitude as far as a rookie. You know, as far as a bench guy. Look, man, I'm supposed to be starting. Fuck all that. I can get mine. What you talking about? And that's what I want. And when Kuzma was playing against Porter, he was going one on one, taking kind of a challenge. I want him to take that same kind of challenge.
right.
Because the Heat players take
Definitely.
that challenge. That's what I love about the Heat. They take the challenge. You gonna do if you want to be a champ, you gotta take the challenge. They take the challenge head up, and they didn't back down. They were underdogs in a lot of the series, and they whooped them teams' ass. So I
They
got nothing
did.
but respect. I got nothing but respect for the Heat. You would be a damn fool if you didn't. You'll be a damn fool if you didn't. It's just like them. Got
Definitely.
respect. Got respect them. Whole lot of talent. You will be a
Definitely.
fool. You don't respect.
Oh, most definitely. But you know, but another thing is I've had my criticisms of Frank Vogel not going deeper into his, bench, in the earlier rounds of the playoffs. Now you say you might not see JaVale McGee in the game, well, in this series. I think there's a good chance JaVale McGee could play in this series. The double team Adebayo.
Yeah, I mean he'll probably start off the play against Adebayo because he actually he won't be oversized like he won't be punished down low like Big Zoo was doing. But they play a lot of small ball. Miami does. And there's gonna be times where maybe Dwight playing better than JaVale. JaVale won't get back in the game. It's gonna be those times because
That could
I
be it.
watch them play. There's so many times they play with no center. And when they play with no center, we can play AD, we can play Morris. But the problem is on offense, that guy who plays the center is a three shooter. JaVale not disciplined enough to stay out there.
Right.
So yeah, look,
Okay,
he
well,
said we need
Nazo says we need to play Dion Waiters over Danny Green. Would you give Waiters more minutes in this series?
shit. I seen him in a sweater. Right, baby. I seen him in a sweater. So I don't know if he gonna play or not. In this series, I will play him. Know why? He just left Miami.
Why?
He just
That's
left
true.
Miami. And he got a motherfucker. He had a chip on his shoulder when he left. He had a chip on his shoulder when he left. And one thing about Dion, right, when he got his shoulder, he plays good.
That's definitely true. Yeah, definitely true.
So
some of TZ said plus JaVale, unlike Lopez, JaVale will use his length.
Yeah, he will use his length on Bam, and he don't got to worry about getting bumped around. And Bam ain't gonna shoot a whole lot of threes on him.
Right.
But when they go to a small lineup, they start raining threes. That's their offense. So we got to be able to adapt. There's gonna be times JaVale can't play, y'all. There's gonna be times Dwight can't
Definitely.
play. Right. So we're gonna have to watch the matchups. Don't be surprised.
Definitely.
If Eric Spoelstra put them in a position where they have to play small ball, where they can't use JaVale and they can't use the White, or they can't use them at a certain time in the game. And look for that. Look for not Frank Vogel. Look for Eric Spoelstra to do lineups like that, because what that'll do is limit your roster. You'll be able to use most of your roster, and they won't be able to use most of two guys out of theirs, and two really good guys. Or they won't be able to use them in a way where it'll be as effective. So, just a little chess matches like that. I believe, though, still, the X factor is Anthony Davis can still check people away from the basket. So can Dwight. So can LeBron. Still can sit in the chair when he needs to. Danny Green. Everybody was focused on how bad he was shooting. Nobody was focused on how good his defense was.
Right. I don't think Danny Green gets the credit that he deserves as a perimeter defender, because let's keep it real. His perimeter defense last year against Golden State was huge in that NBA Finals. He definitely did a nice job for himself and Clay when he was on him.
Right. He played good defense.
And I definitely think that's what ended up turning that series.
Yeah, his defense was off the Richter scale.
But now
he was getting his.
Yes, it was.
So
definitely,
like I said, I just think the Heat got a bunch of guys who underrated and play hard, and that's the recipe for disaster if you sleeping. But I don't think LeBron's sleeping. I think LeBron knows what they're going to bring. I think Dion Waiters know what they're going to bring. And that's why I believe that the brother need to play something.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, I definitely give Dion a few minutes, since, he definitely knows, that team and the system that they run, just leaving that system.
And then LeBron knows the system.
Right, definitely. Playing under Spoelstra for, those 4 years he was there.
Mm-hmm. So both of them know what they expect. And I think in practice, it's gonna be some good. It's gonna be some good. There's gonna be some good duplication of their offense. They're gonna have a quick assessment of what they need to do, and like Teasy say, the Morris twin and Kuzma, I think they're gonna get us a ring. I actually believe.
I definitely think. I definitely expect to see Marquise Morris more in this series, not only because of his shooting, but his defense as well, especially on the perimeter.
Exactly. And his size. His size give a lot of teams problems because he can still rebound. So, and because he's versatile, we can use him in our small ball lineup at the 5, lose nothing on the board.
Right.
And Rondo found a way to use him.
But definitely. Most definitely. Now, for the Heat, my players to watch are Duncan Robinson and excuse me, and also definitely Tyler Hero, because Duncan Robinson, he could get hot from 3-point range at any given night. Tyler Hero, man, this dude's just been balling through most of these playoffs. Now let's see if it'll continue, especially against a great defensive team like the Lakers, especially with the perimeter defenders they got with, Green, also Morris, AD can come out on the perimeter. So I'm definitely curious to see, and also Dwight can defend the perimeter pretty solid. So I'm definitely curious to see how he's going to do against that type of defense. Because if those go up, especially from the outside, then it's definitely going to be miserable on the Lakers.
I think
Lakers definitely got to be
like I said,
in the 3-point line.
Yeah, we got to utilize our front line and utilize our experience. See, what people ain't paying attention to about the Lakers is take away LeBron, we still got at least 6 players with championship experience or a ring.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. Let me add it. Okay, LeBron has 3. McGee has 2. Rondo has 1.
Take him away. Hold up. Stop. Take LeBron away. You're not using LeBron.
Okay.
Rondo.
Okay, Rondo, McGee, Green, JR, Danny Green.
Who else was I going to say?
So that's about what, 5? That's 5 players with rings.
And then Dwight
got to a finals.
So
also the Lakers got Quinn Cook.
Yeah, that's another ring. So
even though he's keep on the bench, but still
got a ring. So did JaVale. Got a ring.
Yeah, I said JaVale. Also, you got assistants with rings. You also got assistants with rings, Kid, and also Phil Handy.
Yep. So the Lakers.
Yeah, TZ, we said Quinn. I said Quinn Cook.
Yeah, the Lakers was a championship team from top to bottom, and I was trying to tell people that all year. It's real good. It's real good what the Clippers put together, but they put together one good playoff team with one championship player. With one championship player. One.
Right.
And that's what I was trying to get people to understand the whole time.
With the Lakers, they got not only players with multiple championships, like I said, they got a couple of assistants with championships. You know, Jason got his as a player. Phil Handy, he has 2, one with the Cavs, and he just won last year with Toronto.
Yeah, that's cool. But like I say, on that floor, that's it. You gotta understand. On that floor, got a lot of championship experience. Now on their team, just like how the Clippers was, you had Doc and fucking Kawhi with rings. Everybody else was trying to get a ring. That was it.
Right.
Doc and Kawhi. Now on this team, all you got is fucking Spoelstra and Riley.
Right.
Spoelstra and Riley. I think that make a difference, bro.
Yeah, I definitely think the experience is going to be a huge factor for the Lakers because, there's like we just said, multiple guys with championship experience or at least, a finals appearance like Dwight. Dwight got to the finals, didn't win it, but hey, he still has that experience. He knows what it takes to play in that, play in those type of games.
Nah, bigger than that. He know what it's like to get there and wait a long time to get the fuck back. He talked about that.
You know what? I was thinking about this the other day. Dwight Howard's, journey getting back to the finals this long is similar. And yes, I'm going to throw some Cleveland in here. It's similar to Richard Jefferson with the Cavs in 2016 because he recalled how, his first 2 years with the Nets, they got to back-to-back finals, and then
he never went again.
It took him 13 years to finally to get to the final.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? Richard Jefferson did not get back to close to the end of his career.
Yep. And look, he played a big role in them winning that ring.
Yes, he did.
Him, Shannon Fry, cuz they realized it was their last dance. And I want you to think about LeBron has a lot of players like that. He always had players like Mike Miller, a guy who had been trying to get to the playoffs, bounce out the playoffs, all of that. He helped them win one. Shane Battier helped them win one. And I think they're gonna do the same
J.R.
thing.
Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, J.R. Smith.
He's on this team.
James Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, J.R. Smith on this team.
Right. So now J.R. LeBron back together again, trying to win another one.
Trying to win another. I ain't mad at him.
Yeah. Oh man, we always got love for JR here in Cleveland.
Hell yeah, I know y'all do. Shit, he helped they win that first ring.
He did. He was a lot of people don't talk about his contribution against the Warriors in that series. I think that gets slept on by a lot of people.
It do. He played defense against Clay and wasn't a knucklehead. You could count on him. And he made big shots.
Right.
A lot of times he was the third scorer. Or he was the X factor. So
he was definitely the X factor. I think he was the third scorer next to outside of LeBron and Kyrie.
Yeah, because Kevin,
if I'm not mistaken,
because Kevin was showing up all the time.
Right.
Yeah, Kevin wasn't showing up all the time. Kevin got a ring, though. I'm glad Kevin got a ring. I still say I love Kevin Love.
But Kevin Love was still being Game 7 with those rebounds. Easy, yep. Mo Williams was on that 2016 team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Mo Williams was another one, y'all. Mo Williams was another one. Look, he knew how long it took to get back.
Yep,
he bounced around to like 9
defense in those threes. Right?
Hell yeah, he bounced around like 9 times.
Now
think about this.
Now, so you have QC in Cleveland. What do people say about JR since the shot clock incident? Nazo, man, we still love JR in Cleveland, man. Man, we just remember the good. We remember all the good he did. We don't remember that one incident. We still love JR
Yeah.
in Cleveland. We always love JR in Cleveland.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault they lost the other game.
That's y'all outside of Cleveland that still talk about that shot clock.
Right, no bullshit. I leave that shit alone.
You say
I'm like, they
LBC?
lost. I said that ain't the only game they lost.
Right?
It wasn't his
Right.
fault they lost the other games. That's
And
bullshit.
even if they would have won, I still don't think they would have won that series.
That's the only game they would have
I
won.
still don't think they would have won that series.
Wouldn't have. That's the only game they
Probably.
would have won. That
Right.
would have been it. Yeah, that would have been the claim
Now,
to fame. They
now this
did
was
won.
like game 7 in the final second. This happened. Then we got a discussion. But this, yeah, TZ, we do remember the good times. You know, we don't remember that one game. We remember all the other things JR did.
That's
He
the
just
best
had one.
thing.
I just chalked up to one bad moment.
Yeah. All of them have. Everybody had one. Yeah.
We've already had a bad moment or two, right?
It's not a basketball player that don't have one of them moments.
But you know, I'm just glad JR back for another team.
Mhm.
Like, I'm sorry. What were you saying, LBZ?
I said it's not a basketball player that don't have them moments.
That's right.
Yeah,
Even the great ones have them.
Mm. It's raining like shit outside.
All right, so let's talk about the coaching matchup. You know, of course, you got Spoelstra. He has the 2 rings. Frank Vogel, you know, he's trying to get his first. And I think Frank Vogel kind of gets crapped on by people. I don't think Frank Vogel gets credit for, you know, as a head coach, because I definitely think he did a pretty good job with that Pacers team with Paul George, S. Hibbert, and all those dudes. And who knows what could have happened if they would have stayed together longer, if the Heat would have stopped contending. So I definitely think
because
this is a pretty
the Heat left. If they stayed together, the Heat left.
No, what were you saying?
The Heat left.
Oh, well,
that's
right.
They still would have been attacked. Yeah, everybody broke up. The Heat had broke up. By the time the Heat broke up, that was your chance to shine. That's what everybody else did. Heat broke up, and they said, "Fuck, it's our turn." So, yeah,
I definitely think if the Pacers would have stayed together, they definitely would have been a they definitely would have got out the East once Miami broke up. But I definitely think this is Vogel's time to shine here, to finally show what a great coach he is and what he can be. You know, even though I've had my criticisms of him, I never said that he wasn't a good coach. I just had my criticism of him not going into his rotation enough. But I definitely like that he has gone into his rotation more in these playoffs. And also, we got Spoelstra here. You know, he's definitely trying to enhance his resume, trying to win his third championship and his first without, LeBron. What were you saying? No, TZ, Dwight did not win a ring. Magic, they lost to the Lakers in 5 games in 2009. And that series would have went longer if the Magic would have missed their free throw in the final second.
I can't hear you again, bro.
What's up? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? LVZ, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Oh shit.
Can you hear me? LVZ, can you hear me now? TZ, you said, no, I'm saying, I hope you win the ring, Talking and Grubbin. Okay. All right, LVZ, let me know when you can hear me.
Crazy.
All right, can you hear me now?
Cue this jump fucking up, bro. I'm about to I'm about to I'm about to be out, man. I'm a
All right, LVZ, thanks, man.
I'm about to take care of this daggone girl messing with this stuff. But thank you for having me
All
on, and
right,
shouts
thanks
out
for
to the
joining me.
people. Support my brother
No
Q and
problem.
smash the like.
Thank you. Thanks, LVZ. Thanks for joining me. All right. That's one LVZ. Thanks to LVZ. Thanks again, brother, for joining me here on this live stream. You know, he had a connection, internet issue, Wi-Fi issue. That's the downside of cell phones these days. But I definitely think, Frank Vogel, like I was saying with LVZ, does not get the credit that he deserves. But this is an opportunity here to finally show what he can do as a coach, because he did a great job with that Pacers team, with Paul George, Hilbert, and West. But ultimately, they broke up. And I think that team would definitely still be a contender if if Vogel and those players would stay together. I mean, West, he was, past his prime, so he would have been retired by now. But I still think if George and Hilbert were still playing at a very high level, they definitely would still be contenders. Also, George Hill was on that team. He definitely produced, pretty well for him. But now this is his time to show that he can do it. We got Spoelstra here with the 2 rings in Miami. Now, if the Heat were to somehow win this series, that definitely would bolster Spoelstra's resume as winning his first championship without LeBron, winning his third title as a head coach. TZ, you said the only problem with that Pacers team was it kept running into the Heat, right? Definitely. But I'm just saying, if say purpose of conversation when the Heat broke up after LeBron decided to go back to Cleveland, if that team would have stayed intact and they would have, upgraded here and there, I definitely think they still would have been in the mix in the East. Matter of fact, a lot of people was pegging them to a lot of people was pegging them to be the next team in the East if the Heat were to, break up. So, what are y'all thoughts on both coaching on both coaches? Who do you think has the edge? TZ, you say, yeah, I hope. Yeah, I hear you. Plus, PG broke his leg too, so that threw the Pacers off. Plus, Nance, but right. That's what I'm saying. All that stuff wouldn't have happened to them. I definitely think they would have been a bona fide contender in the East. And that was so messed up about Paul George breaking his leg. Man, that's one of the most that's one of the most horrendous things I've ever seen. That is very horrendous. That is very horrendous. The way he broke his leg at that time. And you're right, TZ. Lance did leave to join the Charlotte Hornets at that time. But if they would have just stayed together, they definitely would have been contending in the East. And who knows what could have happened. But also, in some ways, despite the fact Eric Spoelstra has 2 NBA championship rings, he doesn't get the credit he deserves either. You know, he's done a pretty good job with the Heat ever since the Big Three broke up. You know, it took it took Pat Riley a minute to basically do a little bit of a rebuild, but now Spoelstra has definitely shown what he can do in these playoffs. And like I just said, if he wins this series and wins his third championship without LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, he definitely has to be elevated up there as one of the best head coaches in the NBA. TZ, you said I think Coach Spo probably has the edge in terms of coaching. Vogel got the edge in terms of his defensive schemes. That's a good point. That's definitely a good point, TZ. You know, Eric Spoelstra, he's coached in 4 straight NBA finals. He won 2 of them. You know, Vogel definitely has a lot of great defensive schemes. He's a hell of a defensive coach. I gotta give Frank Vogel that. There's a comment earlier from Nazo that I meant to read. Nazo, you said hope QC's prediction comes true. You said 9 months ago, you said the Lakers will be the champs. You still Nazo, you still remember that video? You still remember that video. Sweating under these lights, y'all. Sweating under the lights, good people. But man, so I definitely think in this series, you definitely got 2 coaches that are very underrated. You know, they've had some success. You know, they've definitely done a great job of coaching the teams that they've had in the past. So I definitely think whoever wins this series, the coach, either coach is going to be looked at pretty differently. Now, some might dog them either way, say, well, you know, they only won because of the talent they have. I mean, what coach don't win because of talent? Matter of fact, whoever's in this live stream, who's ever in this chat, name me one coach that didn't win without talent. I'll wait. You know, if Bill Belichick didn't have Tom Brady, you think Bill Belichick would have won 6 Super Bowls? No. Matter of fact, speaking of Bill Belichick, the only time Bill Parcells won his Super Bowls with the Giants, guess what? When Bill Belichick was his defensive coordinator, when he did not have Belichick, Bill Parcells didn't win jack. And also, Parcells had the talent to win. So it could go either way. Also, look at Phil Jackson. If he didn't have, you know, MJ, Scotty, Kobe, Shaq, he ain't winning 11 rings. Same with Greg Popovich. If he doesn't have David Robinson, Tim Duncan, then Tony Parker, Ginobili, Kawhi, he doesn't have 5 rings. And definitely Steve Kerr, he don't have 3 rings if he doesn't have Steph, Clay, Draymond, and later KD. TZ, you said because, like LVZ said, we went through Dame and CJ, then Harden and Russ, then Jamal Murray and Jokic, and we know how ballistic them two can go. I just look at the Heat as another challenge. Yeah, they're definitely a challenge. That's definitely a challenge for the Lakers. And also, man, a team who's confident and who feel like they ain't got nothing to lose. That's a dangerous team to play, boy. Because I mean, nobody picked the Heat to be in the NBA Finals. Nobody, even at the beginning of the regular season before, pre-COVID, nobody was picking the Heat to, to get to this point. So, hey, this is a team that's hungry. That's the type of team you definitely don't want to play. I mean, you don't want to mess around with. They're like Clubber Lang. Clubber Lang, he was hungry, he was determined, and that combination, that's a dangerous combination to go up against. It's a very dangerous combination. So, man, definitely cannot wait to get to this. Well, to see the series tip off tomorrow night. Now, another storyline I forgot to get into, the Pat Riley storyline. I meant to get into this with LBZ before he went off, the stream. We gotta talk about Pat Riley. Pat Riley, the man, the legend. This is the team where he basically where he became a legend. At first, he was a player back in the day, late 60s, early 70s. I mean, he wasn't a star player, he was just a role player. Then after retirement, he actually wasn't he didn't even have any type of coaching job at that time. He was he was actually the Lakers broadcast announcer. A lot of people don't know that. But then when Paul Westhead took over mid-season due to the fact that the original head coach got into a bad motorcycle accident, he picked Pat Riley to be his assistant coach during that season, which they ultimately won the championship in 80 against the 76ers. And then Paul Westhead and Magic Johnson had their issues at next season, the season after that. No, excuse me. The season after that, the other season, which was the 81-82 season. So the Jerry West and the ownership decided to, relieve Paul Westhead of his duties, and Pat Riley became the head coach. They went on to win the championship that season and went on to win 3 more within the next 5 years. TZ, you said I thought it was going to be Lake Show versus Raptors. Kawhi probably somewhere punching air that he ain't stay with Toronto. And man, I still couldn't figure that out. Why would he leave Toronto after the season they had? After winning the championship. And I definitely think Ujiri would have definitely found a way to put more players around him to compete for more championships. I don't know what. So I don't know. So I didn't, couldn't understand that concept. Like, why would you leave a team that just won a championship and with a pretty good front office too? But I guess Kawhi just wanted to go back home to LA. Or who knows? Maybe his people wanted him to go home to LA. Who knows? But I know Kawhi is definitely kicking himself right now. TZ, you say, yeah, Pat Riley learned a lot under Jerry West while they were coaches for the Lakers in 82, I think. Yeah, that's when Pat Riley took over for Westhead. That was the 81-82 season where Pat Riley took over for Paul Westhead. And then, okay, back to, Pat Riley thing. After, he had spent just about 10 years, I want to say at least 10 years or more with the Lakers, he decided to move on to the Knicks, where he coached that team for 4 years. He got them to an NBA Finals. They lost in 7 to the Rockets. And he left the Knicks because he wanted more control and final say over the roster. And the Knicks wouldn't give him that. So when the Miami Heat offered that to him, he faxed his way out of New York and he took his talents to South Beach. A lot of people forget that. Pat Riley took his talents to South Beach long before LeBron did. So, he's been in Miami since. He was the president of basketball operations and the head coach. He definitely had some contending teams in the 90s with Tim Hardaway and Alonzo Mourning, but they kept on running into Michael Jordan, or they couldn't get past the Knicks. And then Tim Hardaway got older and Alonzo Mourning started having his health issues. They had to rebuild. They got D-Wade. They got to the playoffs in his rookie year. But then they got Shaq the next season and got to the Eastern Conference Finals, lost in 7. Then Stan Van Gundy got replaced, aka fired. Early in the 2005-06 season, Pat Riley took over and they ultimately won the championship against the Mavs after coming from coming from an 0-2 deficit, excuse me. And then after that, that team got old. They had to rebuild. Then they got LeBron and Bosh to come down to Miami. They had 4 successful years under Eric Spoelstra's head coaching. They won 2 championships, lost 2. Then LeBron decided to go back to Cleveland, where he ultimately won the Cavs the championship in 2016. Now, here they are again. This time on opposing sides. LeBron trying to knock off his old team to get his 4th championship, while the Heat is trying to get their 4th championship as a franchise. Now, LeBron said after the Cavs won the title in 2016, he told Dave McMenamin of ESPN, who covers the Lakers, that a prominent executive in the Heat organization told him that when he, told them that he was going back to Cleveland, they said that it would be the biggest mistake of his career. And I had to think of who that was. I know that wasn't Spoelstra, because Spoelstra, to me, in my opinion, from what I've seen, he doesn't seem that type of guy that would say something like that. And I definitely can't picture Mickey Harrison, the owner, said. So it only left one person, Pat Riley. Because Pat Riley, in that press conference before LeBron announced he was going to be a free agent, he was telling all 3 of them, stay here if you got the guts. So, and also the meeting between LeBron, Pat Riley, and LeBron's representatives, wasn't a good meeting either. LeBron was watching the World Cup. Pat Riley had to tell him to turn down the TV. So definitely know it was Pat Riley who told LeBron going back to Cleveland was the biggest mistake of his career. And LeBron said that's what motivated him to want to win a championship for Cleveland, to prove that he can do it without Pat Riley and the Heat. Now he's trying to prove that he could do it again twice. And Pat Riley, Pat Riley still has not forgiven LeBron for leaving Miami. Well, not forgiven, but I still don't think Pat Riley is over LeBron leaving Miami. I don't. I don't think Pat Riley is over LeBron leaving Miami. That's just my opinion. Y'all can disagree if you want to, but I don't think Pat Riley ever got over LeBron leaving the Heat. So revenge is definitely on Pat Riley's mind, despite the fact he's not coaching it. He's not coaching this series. He put the team together as in the finals, but this will be personal satisfaction for him if he can knock off the Lakers. Because he'll have beaten LeBron, and he will beaten the team where he made his legend. This is how we really know Pat Riley as we do today. TZ, you said like Kawhi scared me more than the Raptors than he does with the Clippers. Nick Nurse will throw the whole kitchen sink at you in terms of defensive schemes. Oh yeah, look what he did against the Warriors last year in the finals when he went to that boxing one defense on Steph. I gotta admit that was executed perfectly by Nick Nurse. He said, plus Freddie V and Pascal Siakam to me have a bright future. I don't think Lou or Paul George getting any better as they age. TV, you also said, okay, you mistyped, all right. You said, oh yeah, what's your thoughts on Doc Rivers and the Clippers parting ways, quote unquote? I think Doc is an overrated coach, but I found a little suspicious that they waited a week after the loss to the Nuggets. Actually, I'm gonna do a video of giving my take on Doc Rivers, and the Clippers parting ways. So look out for that. But for anything, that is kind of suspicious, because if at first the Clippers were saying they were going to keep him, now they part ways. So either they couldn't come to some kind of agreement on the direction of the team, or they just fired him and they not telling nobody in the media. That's the only two things I could think of, because if they were going to get rid of Doc Rivers, they should have done it like, say, a day or two after they got beat by the Nuggets. I'm about to say the Nets. But yeah, they definitely should have done it after say the next day, or say at least 2 days later. Why wait a whole week? So maybe Doc wanted more control of the team and the ownership wouldn't let him have it. Or, like I said, maybe they fired him and they're just not telling anybody. But yeah, Pat Riley definitely, this is definitely a great storyline right here with Pat Riley, because Pat Riley wants to beat the Lakers, especially LeBron, because one thing with Pat Riley, loyalty is a big thing to him. He feels that players should be loyal to their teams. And I definitely think he felt LeBron was disloyal by leaving the Heat to go back to Cleveland. Now, maybe Pat wouldn't feel that way if he would have went to a whole nother team, but to go back to Cleveland of all places, after everything that went down with Dan Gilbert with the letter and some of the fans burning your jersey, you wanted to go back to that. So I know that's still on Pat Riley's mind even now. TZ, you said you agree. You say I agree. So what are y'all thoughts about this whole Pat Riley the whole Pat Riley storyline? Leave the comments in the chat. Do y'all definitely think Pat Riley is motivated here in these NBA finals to want to see the team he put together beat the Lakers? TZ, you said great storylines on both sides. Plus, you got Skip Bayless hating like always. Why can't you just admit LeBron is a great player? I'm not like Shannon Sharp, but I at least say LeBron is top 5 all time. Oh man, Skip Bayless hates anybody that's not Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, or that doesn't play for the Cowboys. I mean, look how disrespectful he was to Kawhi last year, especially after the Raptors won. He was talking, he didn't even call Kawhi by his name. He just kept on saying number two, talking about, well, he quit on my team. Like, no, Kawhi didn't quit on the Spurs. The Spurs did him dirty by trying to throw him under the bus, especially Tony Parker and Mono Ginobili trying to say that he was lying and faking his injury. You don't say that to somebody. And you can't tell a player how their body feels. So they definitely messed up by by saying that out in the press. Even Ginobili and Parker were thinking that. They could have kept that to themselves. Some stuff you don't put out in the public. You keep that behind closed doors you know, between each other. TZ says Skip loves Tim Tebow for some reason. Back when I watched football, I was like, y'all Denver fans think he's good. Yeah, that's another thing I don't get. I didn't get the Tim Tebow love affair. I mean, love affair either from Skip. I mean, yeah, he won that playoff game, which was unlucky, which was, a misassignment by the Steelers defensive line by not, bringing him down for the sack, and he got free and threw that long TD pass. Excuse me. But yeah, Skip is just a hater. I'm just convinced now. Skip is just a hater. You know, I always call my new I came up with a new nickname for Skip. I call him Skip 1.4 because that's all the points he scored when he was when he played high school basketball. 1.4. TZ, you said I've also been hearing people saying, well, if LeBron wins the chip, they like, well, he 4-6, but if he loses, they gonna say he 3-7. I'm like, he can't win regardless. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And plus, I don't like to get caught up in finals records because winning an NBA finals, that's a team effort. You know what I'm saying? This is not an individual effort like boxing, MMA, UFC, tennis, stuff like that. This is a team effort. It's a team effort. So it's not just so we can't just say it was all on LeBron why he lost. It's also I say it's on the team as a whole why they lost. Well, or why they lose, excuse me. You know, I always go by the philosophy, you win as a team, you lose as a team. One individual ain't above the other. So if that were to happen, it's because the Lakers as a team didn't play well against the Heat. Not because of LeBron. He's just one player. It takes a team to win. It takes a team to win a championship. It can't just be one guy. Matter of fact, it's rare one guy wins a championship. There's exceptions like Dirk and I don't even Hakeem. Some people think it was just Hakeem and a bunch of role players. I don't think so. And also the 2004 Pistons, but most of the time you need a team, excuse me, you got to have a team. And the three examples I just mentioned, that's the reason why they won those championships, because they had an overall team around them. Hakeem, he had dudes like Sam Cassell, Mario Elie, Robert Horry, Otis Thorpe. He had those dudes. And then they get Clyde Drexler the next year and win another championship. So you got to have a team around you to do that. Look at the 2011 Mavs with Dirk. People dog them, but come on. You still had, even though a lot of those guys were stars, when they were past their prime and they had to just be reduced to role players, they still could play. Sean Marion, Jason Kidd, Tyson Chandler. You had Jason Terry coming off the bench. JJ Barea. Deshaun Stevenson was pretty nice. TZ, you say I don't get caught up in finals records either. Notice how they started doing that when LeBron and his team started making it to the finals and Jordan had been retired. Yeah, I know. Because, right, why they didn't do that with Magic? I mean, Magic is what, 5-4 in the finals. As a matter of fact, this is just my personal opinion. If LVZ rewatches this and sees this, got love for LVZ, but this is just my take. If Isaiah Thomas does not injure his ankle in Game 6 of the '88 Finals, I think Magic would have lost that series. I think the Lakers would have lost that series. So Magic would have been 4-5 in the finals. Nobody ever says, well, before, while Jordan was winning championships, nobody was comparing finals records. TZ, you said those teams you mentioned at, like what LVZ always says, superstar role players or players who played their roles to the max. Yeah, that's what those Rockets teams did, and that's what the 2011 Mavs did, and so did the 2004 Pistons. They had one of either those two combinations, either superstar role players like the Mavs or players who played their role like the Rockets. Well, with the exception of Clyde Drexler. Because Drexler was an all-star. He may have not have had that he may have not have got to that superstar status, but he was a bona fide all-star. So we can't sell Clyde the Glide short. So I mean, now if the Lakers do win this series, I definitely think I mean, I don't really get into the GOAT conversation because one, there's no nuances to it, and also too many people have moved the damn goalposts when it comes to these GOAT conversations. But I definitely think this definitely would make the case for LeBron being a top 10 all-time great player. Because I mean, he would have won championships with four championships with three different teams. You know, and the one in Cleveland will always be at the top of that list because he went to a team that had never won before, a city who had an epic sports championship drought, and brought it home for him. And plus, he's from the Northeast Ohio area. Now, people might say, well, the Heat, the first one with the Heat was the big one because he had never won one. People forget the Heat had already won a championship. I'm saying if he wins with the Lakers, he would just be adding on to the Lakers' legacy. And also, he'll be behind a lot of other Hall of Famers and legends. Kobe, Shaq, Jerry West, Magic, Kareem, Worthy, Phil, excuse me. That's a lot of big shoes to fill. So it would just be another one for the Lakers. That would add to their legacy. And I know some Laker fans will feel, well, LeBron, he's gonna be he's gonna be a Laker great. When LeBron got there, he was already an all-time great player. So for my Laker fans, I don't think you can yell, well, LeBron is a Laker great because LeBron didn't spend his whole career in a Lakers uniform, or at least most of it like Shaq or Kareem. Say he only spends about 4 or 5 years in a Lakers uniform. That's not a long period of time, especially compared to the years that Kareem spent playing for the Lakers. So if LeBron were to win this championship, well, the Lakers and LeBron were to win this championship, I would put it like this. LeBron is an all-time great who happened to play for the Lakers. Because a lot of the stuff and a lot of records he gained were mostly in Cleveland. They weren't, I mean, yeah, he surpassed Jordan in LA, but a lot of the other stuff was in a Cavs uniform. So when LeBron, goes into the Hall of Fame within the next, 10 years, he's always going to be associated with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Not to say he ain't going to be associated with the Lakers. He's going to be associated with the Lakers, but nobody's going to, when they think of the uniform, the uniform that he was in the most, they're going to think of the Cavaliers because hometown kid. TZ said, I try not to get into GOAT convos as I get older, either because, for example, Shaq was my favorite center when I was younger, and now all the new center games aren't like Shaq. Right. That's another thing. Sometimes the game changes. You don't have those traditional centers anymore like Shaq or Mourning, Robinson, Bill Russell. A lot of your centers now are camped out on the perimeter. You said, like, I don't hate on the new centers now, but they just don't use their size and dominance like Shaq. That's true. That's definitely true. Because as a matter of fact, with my live streams of the Lakers games, I said Frank Vogel and the coaching staff need to get AD involved in the post more. They should have his back to the basket on a few possessions and have him get to the basket with a jump hook or a layup or something, because he could definitely do it. And 9 times out of 10, AD will win his matchup in the post, whether it's another center or a guard or a forward. AD 9 times out of 10 will win that matchup. Sweating under these lights, y'all. But I do get the Lakers fans' point of view on that. How they feel LeBron would be a Laker great, because they're used to having so many legends play for that franchise. But I don't think you could say LeBron is a Laker great, because you already had an all-time great player coming in who had already won multiple championships. Guys like Shaq, Kareem, when they got there, they hadn't won a ring. Well, no, I take that back. Kareem had one with the Bucks, but it had been a minute. My mistake. I mean, yeah, Shaq, he got to the finals and lost. But for the most part, a lot of those guys, you know, well, I mean, with the exception of Kareem, had not won anything. LeBron, came to LA, he already had 3 rings. Now, if you want to say AD, now if you want to really put AD on that pantheon, that's okay, because he's younger and he's definitely going to be playing a lot more longer. LeBron, he's what, 36? No, excuse me, 35. My mistake. He'll be 36, in December. LeBron only has, at least a good 4 or 5 years left. TZ, you said, I say that too. AD's game is kind of like Garnett, where Garnett likes to face you up and shoot the mid range. Right. I definitely think AD could definitely, you know, definitely could use some more post moves, because I definitely think he could definitely do pretty well, and that would open up his offensive game. TZ said Garnett could play physical like AD, but like LVZ says, they fragile. They fragile. Right. Definitely. Definitely, definitely. But I'm about to get into my prediction in the next couple of minutes, because I got to get out of here, but I got a couple more points before I get into that. Now, if the Lakers win this series, that would be their 17th championship. They would tie the Celtics for the most championships in the NBA. So that would be a great story. That would be a great story for Laker fans and sports fans in general. Also, if the Heat find a way to win this series, that'll be their 4th as a franchise. That would be the 4th title in the Pat Riley era. And that definitely would enhance that definitely would enhance his already huge Hall of Fame resume. he could, sit and say, hey, I won, 4 championships with, you know, 4 Hall of Famers, and then I won another one with guys who probably won't be Hall of Famers. The only Hall of Famer I would, well, Butler, he's more like a second ballot Hall of Famer. He would be more on the front. Well, no, I'm not gonna say fringe. He would be second ballot. So Pat Riley, would definitely want to look back and say, "Hey, I built a team that didn't have superstars and still found a way to win a champ, and we still found a way to win a championship." Excuse me. So, man, this is gonna be a fun matchup. I cannot wait to see it unfold. You know, LeBron's definitely trying to push himself into the GOAT conversation, even though I don't like having him. You know, and also I always think me and old friend of mine had this conversation a while back. A lot, and we talked about this. I think a lot of people who are either Jordan fans or Kobe fans are intimidated by the fact if LeBron keeps on winning rings, that he's going to threaten either Jordan or Kobe. Say if LeBron does win this series and wins, say 4, I mean this will be his 4th. Oh well, Kobe fans be like, well, he's inching closer to Kobe. And say if LeBron, stays on the Lakers and they three-peat, and Jordan fans might get mad and say, well, he touching Jordan. TZ said, "Oh yeah, big number 17." Okay, you said I got the Lakers in 6. I can see it ending in 5 if basically everything goes beautifully for the Lakers. I can also understand what LBZ said where it could go 7. All right. He also said, "Oh, Jimmy is a part of what I call the half of very good." TZ, well, TZ, elaborate on that. What do you mean by the half of very good? Excuse me. But like I said, you know, if LeBron were to win his 4th championship, that would definitely bolster his legacy as well. That he would have won 4 championships with with 3 different teams, excuse me. And say if he ends up being the finals MVP, that would definitely enhance it even more. That he was the MVP of all of those finals that they won. You know? And like, TZ mentioned earlier, he said, you're gonna have those haters say, well, he's 4-6 in the finals. I'm like, if y'all gonna say, well, for the haters who say that, well, ain't Jerry West 1-8 in the finals, and he's the logo. If y'all really want to push that narrative, why is Jerry West the logo and he went 1-8 in the finals? You know, and also, and also, who's the finals MVP named after? That's right, Bill Russell. It ain't named after Michael Jordan. And you might have some Jordan fans out there who hate that. Oh, Jordan went 6-0 in the finals. The MVP should be named after him. It should be named after no Bill Russell. You know, and I've seen some YouTubers videos. I'm not gonna say names where they said Bill Russell was overrated. Like, huh? How you gonna say that the man who's like one of the all-time leaders in rebounds he overrated. You know, that's asinine because a lot of people fail to realize back then they were not keeping blocks as a stat. So if they would have been keeping blocks as a stat back then Bill Russell's resume would be more enhanced. TZ, you said like the half of very good is for players like Jimmy, Paul George, players who you say aren't guaranteed locks for the Hall of Fame. All right, I got you. Okay, TZ, you also said now, with that being said, whoever votes for the Hall of Fame needs to explain how Chris Webber is in the Hall of Fame. That's what boggles my mind. I don't how Webb is not in the Hall of Fame. He definitely put up some nice numbers in the NBA, especially when he was with Sacramento. That man definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But you got people out here saying that dudes like Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala are Hall of Famers. Don't get me wrong. I like Iguodala. Pretty nice player, great defender, solid scorer, but he ain't no Hall of Famer. But some people, he has a Finals MVP. Okay, so Cedric Maxwell got a Finals MVP. He ain't in the Hall of Fame. Excuse me. TZ, you said I already know who made that Bill Russell video. I got respect for him, but everything can't be Jordan this and Jordan that. Exactly. I give Jordan his props, but it can't just be all Jordan all the time. There are other greats too. There are other greats who definitely impacted the game. And there are other great players who do certain things well. You know? And there's also some things that players you don't like are going to do some historical things that players that you do like will do. I mean, that you do like wouldn't do. Like 2016. LeBron was the first player in the final, not just in the finals, in any playoff series against the Warriors to lead both teams in all 5 categories: points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. And that's what, got him that unanimous finals MVP vote. Because no other player in the playoff series had ever done that prior. Not Jordan, not Magic, not Bird or Kareem or Dr. J, Duncan, Shaq, none of them. Kobe. But Leitner wasn't a Hall of Famer, right? Oh, TZ, sorry. I I see your other comment, TZ. Sorry about that. Yet Bill Walton, who only scored like 6,200 points, is a Hall of Famer. He had a great college career, but C. Webb also had a great college career, like Christian Laettner had a great college career, right? And that is kind of crazy that Bill Walton is in the Hall of Fame, but Chris Webb isn't. And you know what? Well, no, I can't say it's not. I can't say it's because of a lack of championships, because there's a lot of players in the Hall of Fame who didn't win a championship. So definitely can't use that against Chris Webber. But I just can't figure out why he's not. Why he's not in the Hall of Fame. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and I hope he gets there soon. Definitely hope he gets there sometime soon because he deserves it. He definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Excuse me. All right. So let me get into my prediction. Now, man, both teams are well coached. They're great on deep. Well, they're definitely great defensively. The Heat, they can definitely shoot the ball well, especially from the 3-point line. Both teams can rebound, but the Lakers, they got the size, they got the length to combat Adebayo, Olenek, also they can get out on the perimeter against dudes like Robinson, Hero, Butler, Dragic. So, like LBZ said, the only way the Heat can do anything in this series, they will have to go small ball, like Houston tried to do. But the Heat are more athletic and they can rebound a lot better than what the Rockets could. But I definitely think this is going to be a hard fought series, and this is going to be a long series. It's going to be classic. We're going to have this is going to be a lot. This series is going to be a roller coaster. We're going to have blowouts. We're going to have close games. We're going to have some defensive battles. Don't be surprised if you see, say, a 93-89, type of final. you know. But man, this is going to be a great series. Like, we got the storylines, we got the plot lines. Two teams trying to enhance their legacy. You got a front office who's trying to prove that they can win without a superstar player. You got a future Hall of Famer who wants to add to his legacy and prove to them that he can do it without them. And also, you got two coaches who are who are definitely underrated, trying to, really make a name for themselves here in these NBA finals. So this is going to be a highly contested series. I can definitely see this series getting a little bit physical because both teams definitely have that physicality. But I definitely think the Lakers, depth, championship experience will prevail in this series. So I'm going to go with the Lakers. I thought about this long and hard. And as Nazo pointed out earlier, I did predict the Lakers back in, what was that? When did I do that video? Around December? It was around November or December. I predicted the Lakers will be this year's NBA champs. So I definitely think the Lakers will win this series in 7 games. So I'm gonna stick to what I said a few months ago. I definitely think the Lakers will be your 2020 NBA champions, and they'll get it done in 7 hard-fought games. TZ said, "Oh yeah, can't wait for these finals, win or lose, man. I gotta get ready for work tomorrow morning, fam. Peace out. Peace out to you, TZ. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I'm about to get up out of here myself, y'all. Gotta one L thank one LBZ once again. Make sure y'all subscribe to LBZ NBA Talk. Matter of fact, let me give y'all the link to his channel so y'all can subscribe to it if you haven't already. Man, definitely gives a lot of great content, whether it's sports, news, politics. It's such of a which gives, excuse me, let me rephrase that. Whether it's sports, news, or politics, he definitely gives you the real. It's such a funny edge. As a matter of fact, you know, I always says he's like a modern day Paul Mooney. He would definitely take the throne. I mean, he would definitely if he got to stand up, he definitely would pick up where Paul Mooney left off if he wanted to get into that. So give y'all the link to his channel so y'all can subscribe if y'all ain't subscribed already. All right, there's the link to LVZ's channel. That's LVZ NBA Talk. So definitely go there. You'll definitely enjoy the channel. But anyways, y'all, definitely got to get out of here. I thank y'all for joining us here tonight on this live stream. You know, definitely thank God for y'all wanting to come on, join us. You know, I feel honored. I enjoy doing this for y'all. I enjoy talking with y'all. Also, if you want to donate to this channel, you can donate via Cash App or PayPal. There's the Cash App cash tag right there. And here's the email for the PayPal link. I used to put the email for PayPal, excuse me. I used to put the link in the chat or in the comment section on videos, but you know, after a few hours that the link expires, so I figured this would be much easier. Or while I'm doing live streams, you can, donate via super chat. So once again, I gotta get out of here, good people. Also, join me tomorrow night at 8 o'clock as I'll be doing the live stream for game 1 of the NBA Finals. I'm going to be live streaming throughout the whole series until an NBA champion is crowned. Every live stream will start an hour before tip-off. Now, you know, there's a couple of Sunday games here, like game 3 Sunday night. I'll start at 7:30. So, you know, I'll be on at 6:30. So like I said, make sure y'all tune in for all the live streams. This is gonna be a fun series. I can't wait to do the live stream for it. I can't wait for us to talk again. You know, so we can give our takes on each game as it unfolds. Until we crown a 2020 NBA champion. This is gonna be a fun series. I can't wait for it to tip off. Can't wait to see who's gonna come out victorious here in this series. It's gonna be a fun one. So once again, I gotta get out of here, y'all. Also, make sure if you want to shop for any Talkin and Grubbin gear, go to teespring.com. Here's the link to the Teespring store right here. I'm selling t-shirts, long sleeve tees, hoodies, and coffee mugs and more. And here's the promo code for the 10% off. Here's the promo code for the 20% off. And here's promo code for free shipping on your items. So gotta get out of here, y'all. Till tomorrow night. Y'all have a good one. Love y'all to life. QC out.